What's the biggest secret you're currently hiding? When I was 6, my mom took me shopping one day and I really wanted to get ice cream on the way home. I practically begged her for it, but she told me no. I was really mad. So, when she had to stop at another store, I told her I wanted to just stay in the car. She left the windows rolled down, and as I was sitting there, I suddenly got a genius idea. I decided to get her back for saying no. So I climbed out the window and hid in a bush close to the car. I sat there waiting for her to come back, thinking her reaction would be hilarious when she saw I wasn't there. She came back out, and when she looked inside the car, she dropped everything she was holding. A few things broke, and she started searching the whole car while calling my name. She kept calling out for me, and I could hear how panicked she was. I was trying not to let her hear me laughing. She ran back into the store, and a few minutes later, the police showed up. Now, multiple officers were calling out my name, asking people if they had seen me. Apparently, one guy said he saw me get into another car, but I have no idea what he was talking about. After a few more minutes, I was getting ready to jump out and surprise my mom. And when I did, I saw her on the ground. There was an ambulance with her now, and they were giving her CPR. The police grabbed and questioned me, and my mom had to go to the hospital. Now, I knew I had messed up bad. Her heart completely stopped twice in the ambulance. I made the biggest mistake of my life and will never say sorry. When I was in high school, I had a little white dog named Charlie, and he was my best friend. My mom hated looking after him and always made comments about him being too much to take care of. One night, she joked about giving him away, but I didn't think she was serious. However, the next night I got home late, and when I looked for him, he wasn't there. I searched everywhere but couldn't find him. In that moment, I completely lost it. I remember storming out to my living room and completely lit into my mom. I called her the worst mom in the world and told her she doesn't love me. I said, I hope I never see her again, and stormed back to my room. She tried to come in, but I kept the door locked and told her to leave me alone. I cried myself to sleep, but the next morning when I got up, I heard something in my closet. When I opened it, Charlie ran out. I was so glad to see him, but then I realized what I had done. I felt so horrible and had to tell my mom how sorry I was. I went out to see if she was home, but she had already left for work. She had to drive to Manhattan, so she left early and came home late most days. I felt so bad I stayed home from school and just wanted to give her a hug. That day, I remember watching TV when the channel changed itself, and I saw the building on fire. I didn't think it was real, but after a few minutes, I realized what was happening. This was on September 11th. And after I watched for a few minutes, I realized that was the building my mom was in. I was trying to just catch my breath and barely heard our phone ringing in the kitchen. I answered it and heard her. She was telling me she loves me and was so sorry for not being good enough. I tried to tell her I was sorry and ask if she was okay. She told me she loves me. And before I could say anything, I heard something loud over the phone. The line cut out and I asked if she was there. It was silent. And when I looked at the TV, I saw the building collapsing. I'll never forgive myself. If you still have your parents, please go tell them you love. What's the best gift you've ever gotten? My son had just gotten his driver's license, and we just bought him his first car for his 16th birthday. I was so proud and waved to him as I watched him drive off that morning. I remember finally getting some alone time when my wife called me. I answered it and heard her crying and screaming, but I couldn't understand anything she was saying. She told me just to get in my car and start driving because there was an accident on the way to school. The police called her and told her someone ran a red light and hit him. I remember driving there thinking she was overreacting and he'd be okay, but when I saw his car completely crushed, I couldn't breathe. I watched them pull him out and I couldn't even look. We ended up waiting at the hospital for 10 hours, and they were the longest of my life. Eventually, when the doctor finally came out to see us, he told us our son was alive. He was breathing, but he wasn't awake. He was in a coma, and they weren't sure when he'd wake up. So we sat with him for a few days. We played his favorite music and talked to him, and I like to think he could hear us. Then, we got the worst news ever. He had severe brain damage, and that he'd never wake up. We decided to turn off his life support and said goodbye forever. However, a year later, the craziest thing happened. We got a card in the mail thanking us and thanking our son. We had no idea, but they actually used my son's heart to save this guy's life. We agreed for him to be an organ donor, and a month later we met the guy and got the best gift we've ever received.